Hi, everyone. Welcome to our One World Zohar Energy Encounter with the Zohar. This week's portion is Vaetchanan. In our edition of the Zohar, it's volume 22, and we're at paragraph 150. The name of the article is, "At First, the Evil Inclination is Like a Guest." So before we begin, let's open our consciousness up to the upper realm and connect to the energy of healing, and let's just keep in mind to send healing energy out to everyone we know who needs healing. Mindel Bat Chaya, Moshe Ben Chana, Albert Ben Imelda, Imelda Bat Carmen, Francine Bat Barbara, Ariela Bat Rivka Tova, Tzipora Bat Diane, Nachman Ben Chaya, Rechel Ben Chana, Jeffrey Ben Fern, Shane Dvor Ben Chaya Chana, Levi Ben Bluma, Sar Bat Malka, Yitzchak Ben Rivka, Melissa Bat Margie, Chana Bat Rivka, Hida Masa Navon Bat Daviva, Ganes Bat Rachel Dina, Sur Perel Bat Yitzreza, Carol Bat Susan, Aviva Bat Naina. Let's also send out energy of assistance and elevation to those souls that we know are in the process of their 12 months of elevating. So people we know that have passed away. We want to also send them energy of assistance and elevation on their journey. Okay, also let's connect to the energy of Ahavat Chinam, unconditional love, treating everyone in the world with human decency, protection from evil eye and evil speech, ending the wars and conflicts in our world, the safe release of all the hostages being held by Hamas, protection for all those innocents in harm's way, and removal of chaos and negativity in our world. Let's also invite in the Rav and Karen and Michael, Rav Shlag, Rav Brandweid, the Ria Kodesh, Ramchal, Rav Tarfon, Rav Amazulai, Rav Menachem Mendel of Vitebsk, Rav Kolono, Mr. Shapiro, Pia Setzna, the Baal Shem Tov, Rav Shim Barachai, and all the students, Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl, when soul with Yosef at Tzadik and Shechem. Again, we're asking them for assistance and guidance in what's going to come up in the Zohar. We definitely want their assistance. Also, today is the anniversary of Rav Tzvi Hirsch of Liska, so we also have his assistance today. And okay, let's dive in. Again, this is all interesting. And I really try to make it as interesting as possible, for myself included. So it's part of what we do, but really what we're doing is injecting energy from the upper realm into our world. We're connecting to these verses, whether we understand them or not, isn't actually the point. This is not like some graduate level course on Zohar study with tests, midterm and a final. That's not what this is. The test is your life. The test is what's going on in the world. That's the test. This is our opportunity to channel the energy from the upper realm where there is no chaos in the upper realm. It's the flawless universe. It's complete fulfillment. It's complete healing. It's the end of pain and suffering in our world. And that's the goal. That's what we're trying to accomplish through the study. Okay, verse 150. Tachazeh. Yetzer hara lama hu domeh b'sha'ata da'atel izdavga bebarnash hu kefar zela ad alin le benura batar de yitchamem itadar kola kenura.
Come and see what the evil inclination is like.
Okay, so just like topically, take a step back. We've all been on this Kabbalistic path for different lengths of time. Like, what is evil inclination?
It's our inner opponent that challenges us to become more.
Yeah. So like, I'm engaged in whatever, and there's a voice goes off in my head. There's like an internal dialogue. Grab the biggest slice of pizza. Aren't you hungry? Or like, don't give to charity. You need that money. Isn't that me though who's saying that? No. That's the evil inclination. That's the other side. That's the opponent. That's a negative angel assigned to you. Well, what's the point of that? Why do I need that? Why do I need the negative? What is the deal? Why do I need an evil inclination? My Yetzer Hara, it's also called. That's my evil inclination. And my good inclination is Yetzer Tov. But ultimately, it's like there's two angels. One is actually my soul, and one is actually the evil inclination. But when you hear that voice in your head, that's not you. You're the listener. And so we want to hear the voice of the soul. That's a much more quiet voice. So there's a dialogue that's always taking place. It's just like, I want to be aligned with my soul. And so the first takeaway here, as we delve into what is evil inclination, as the Zohar is going to open it up for us today, like, I need to be more connected to my soul. Well, what's in the way? Well, different software programs running around your head. And by that, I mean different mindsets, things people have said to you, cultural influences, familial influences. No pain, no gain. That's not true. I have to suffer if I want to sing the blues. That's not true either. Well, suffering's a choice. I mean, yeah, we will experience pain, but the level of suffering we experience is somewhat of a choice. I can be sad and be happy at the same time. Like, part of what we need to do is always examine, what are the assumptions that I'm making? Where did they come from? What influences have been placed upon me? How do I live my best life ultimately? And living my best life, manifesting my soul, means I have to overcome, override, observe what those voices are. And one of the big voices is the voice of the opponent. Okay. But the bottom line is, the more aligned with my soul I am, the more I manifest the best version of myself in the world. And that's really where we want to be. And that's not easy, because our soul is operating through physicality, and physicality is a big deal. It absorbs everything. It's like the ultimate in distraction. We're so distracted by physicality, it's difficult to see and connect to our soul. And so one of the reasons why I read the Zohar and I study the Zohar is because I'm trying to remove those distractions. I'm trying to deconstruct reality. I'm really trying to connect to my soul. And so when you encounter a challenge in your life and you're like, oh my God, how am I dealing with this? What do you think your soul is saying? Your soul is saying, this is what I came here for. This is exactly what I came here for. And so there's a disconnect right there. And we've talked about this before. There are 5 levels of soul, let's say, and at the first level, at the level of nefesh, the challenges that I encounter, I'm like, why is this happening to me? That's my base level of soul. But when I go from nefesh to ruach, to a second level of soul, at the ruach level, I understand these things are happening for me. And that's more aligned with my soul, because my soul knows with certainty that all these things are happening for me. Because my soul ordered these things up. My soul asked for a life where I could have these experiences, so I could overcome the blockages that are there, so I could stay more elevated and more connected. And we all have different challenges, but those challenges happen to assist us in growing and manifesting more of our soul in the world. And I know there's serious challenges, and I know we all have serious challenges. And if you don't think you have serious challenges, that's a different kind of delusion. We have serious challenges. The difference is, how am I going to look at them? Am I going to look at them as victim? Why is this happening to me? Which is normal. It's very human. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not going to judge that. It's the way people show up. Or am I on this path because I want to be more elevated in my view of my world, and I want to change the trajectory of my life? And so if I want to do that, I'm not going to look at it like I'm a victim. I'm going to look like this is happening for me, because it is Kabbalistically happening for me. And the evil inclination is there to assist us. The evil inclination is an angel on the creator's payroll, to the degree there's a payroll. That evil inclination is here to help us grow. But we need to grow in how we hear it and how we process it, and understand it's still happening for us. And understand the evil inclination is going to say this is a world of scarcity and limitation. And your soul knows this is a world of abundance and unlimited potential. And we want to understand that difference, because when the challenges come up and we go to scarcity mindset, we want to remind ourselves that that is not the deeper reality. It's a reality that's hard to connect with and hard to consciously be connected to, but that's the goal. To see the world as unlimited, to see a world of abundance. We don't see that because that's upper realm. That's above where our consciousness is in physicality. Okay, let's continue.
When it comes to join man, it is like iron before it is put into the fire. After it is heated, the whole of it again becomes like fire.
What iron before? What an interesting metaphor. Like, what's iron like before it's put into the fire? Well, it's kind of cold and not very malleable. When it's hot, it is malleable. And so the evil inclination, don't think for 2 seconds that as you grow in your awareness and connection to soul, that evil inclination is just going to run away. No. Evil inclination is going to reform itself and always be there to be your opponent. No matter what you're doing. If you're here, you are wired for this. The difference is when I hear that voice in my head and I say, that is the evil inclination, and I rise above it, when evil inclination gets called out, it kind of removes itself and just looks for another opening. When we are at our weakest and most vulnerable, rest assured the evil inclination is going to come in and just pour salt in the wound. No question. And challenge us in that way. And again, give us the opportunity to spot it and pick ourselves up. And thereby, when we pick ourselves up, we're revealing light. So it serves a function because it gives us the opportunity to reveal light in the world and in our lives. And just by reading these verses, we're getting assistance in elevating our consciousness with this awareness and this ability to spot the evil inclination, to put evil inclination in its place, and to rise above it. 151. Rabbi Chia Amar, Yetzer Hara kad ate lizdavga be lebarnash. Dame lebarnash tekariv lefitcha, lechame delait man mache bide. Al leveta vit aved le oreach. Chama delait man dimche bide, v'yezil le learche. Kevan de ayel leveta, delait dimche bide. It mena ale, vit aved mare. Understand, and this is not an easy concept, just reading these words is doing battle with the evil inclination. Okay, Alex?
Rabbi Chaya said, when the evil inclination comes to join man, it is like a man who approaches the gate and sees there is no one at home to detain him.
Okay, so by the way, it's Chia, but there's no way to know that from the English. It's Rabbi Chia, but who's one of the students of Rabbi Shimon, and it's like the evil inclination shows up, and it's like it has free reign. Like the home alarm is off. Just open the door. There's a gate. I can just walk. There's no one paying attention. That's how the evil inclination gets in. It's like our guard is down. We're not thinking about this. We want to think about it. So reading about this is heightening our sensitivity to the fact there's evil inclination. And I'd use the example in modern days is like, be on guard against identity theft. Be on guard about, emails and texts of just scammers. Like, to a certain degree, like, our guard is down. Our guard needs to be up. Because there are people out there trying to steal our identity and just, steal our money, basically. But evil inclination, more sophisticated than that. More sophisticated than even the most advanced scammer technology. All right, let's continue.
It enters the house and becomes a guest, seeing there is no one to prevent it to send it on its way.
Okay, so that's the thing. Evil inclination just walks right in. There's no one standing around preventing evil inclination from showing up. That's the easy part for the evil inclination. It's there. And evil inclination is in our head. He's just there. To hang out like a guest, making himself at home. Please make yourself at home. Good.
Once it is entered the house and no one prevents it, it is in charge over the house and becomes the landlord, so that the whole house is at its disposal.
So like once it's in charge. Like we're not even aware. We're not even aware that this is going on. It's like our defenses are so down, we're so distracted, we're so involved that we don't even realize that we've given over control. And if you're here, evil inclination is there in your head. That's your house. It's here. Again, the more awareness we have, the better able we are to neutralize this influence. 152. Man olifna mi parshata de David olifna, ma kativ yavo hailech leish ha'ashir, hailech de karim lefitcha, v'laba'e lik'akva taman, ela lemehach le'arche, kach hu yetzer hara, kamad demikrav leveta, demitkarev gabe de barnash, itar ale bechova v'ze'er, dahu oreach arai, chame delet dimche bidei, makativ lasot le'oreach haba elav, it aved le oreach ach senai beveta, it ar ale bechovoy yatir yom achad o train yomin kahai oreach de sharon le beveta yom achada o bet yomin kevan de chame de late man dimche bidei makativ v'yasli shaba elav it aved mare de beta kamadat omer ish adonai haaretz ish naami kachu yetzer hara it aved lekavle de barnash ish balabayit ha'it kashar barnash beful chane v'hu aved be reute.
Whence do I learn that?
Yeah, like where
learned
did this come from? Where did that saying that Rabbi Chia got in the previous paragraph, where did he learn that? So interestingly, keep going.
I learned it from the passage about David. It is written, and there came a traveler to the rich man. A traveler means he approaches the gate, yet does not want to stay there, but go on his way. Such is the evil inclination at first, which, like one approaching the house, it approaches man and rouses him to sin a little only by coincidence.
Okay, so like, where did he learn this from? This verses in our holy writings. In this case, we're looking at a verse that Rabbi Chia brings down from Shmuel Bet, the prophet Shmuel, which encompasses the lives of several, not the least of which is the life of King David. And the verses, there came a traveler to a rich man. So like, what is it that the evil inclination does? Well, it starts off really, really easy. Little suggestions, little things, rouses them a little. And it's only coincidence. Like, it's not like he's moved in yet. Go ahead.
When it sees no one prevents it, it is written to prepare it for the wayfaring man or guest that was come to him. Now he becomes a guest who stays at the house, which means it rouses him to sin more for a day or two, like a guest that is kept at home for a day or two. When it sees no one prevents it, it is written, prepared it for the man that was come to him, because it became the landlord, as it is written, the man who is the Lord of the land. And
So let's
Naomi's
stop there for a
husband.
second before we get into. So the Zohar is bringing down different verses to give us the indication of like what this relationship is. And so you can look at those verses and not really read it the same way. And that's one of the, again, a major benefit of Zohar study is to understand more deeply, where do these verses in Shmuel Bet have relevance in my life? Like, these are holy writings talking about things that happened thousands of years ago. So what the Zohar is reminding us is all these stories, all these references, all these verses have present moment relevance. And that's a really important major takeaway for us to understand. Not only is the Zohar a 2,000-year-old or more, thousands of year old spiritual wisdom, it has to have relevance in our life right now. If it doesn't have relevance right now, then we're missing something. It's not history lesson. Everything that we encounter in the holy writings has present moment relevance. I know a lot of it gets presented from a historical perspective, from an academic perspective, from a tradition perspective. You know, there's all these different backdrops lenses through which people try to understand what exactly is going on. From a Kabbalistic perspective, that's not what it is. It's present moment relevance. And remember, there's only one moment that matters. Present moment. I mean, that's it. That's the only thing that's real. There is no past, there is no future, there's only present. Yes, it appears that things happen in the past. Yes, it appears that things will happen in the future. But even in the past, they happen in the present moment. And even in the future, they're still going to happen in the present moment. And so I submit to you that one takeaway from all this study is the importance of being present. So let's not have regrets about the past, and let's not have anxiety about the future, although we all experience those things. And who do you think is pushing the past regret relevance and future anxiety relevance? Who do you think is pushing that?
Of course, the inclination.
The evil inclination. Maria, I see your hand was up.
Yeah, I've been listening. And I read this before, by the way, maybe a couple years ago, and I'm listening completely different now. First, I just want to bring an observation to me. When you first called the article, at first, the evil inclination is like a guess. I took a like, oh, someone visiting. Easy should be easy, but I will start reading this, it's becoming harder and harder and more eye-opening. But I just want to, I'm like, darn, okay. So I'm listening to you. You've been answering a lot of my questions that come to mind. But how do and I know through the studies and in this hypnosis says, in order to prevent this, to maintain our words of the Torah, right? Constantly keeping those words in us, in our heart, to prevent that. But how, sometimes we're in the process or something with people, and I know that, and then through halfway at the end, we know it's like, shoot, that was the negative side that got himself or herself there. How can I prevent that?
I mean, you can't really, you can only pray, stay connected, read the Zohar, those are the tools that we have at our disposal to have heightened awareness. It's really all about consciousness.
Right. I mean, I was going to say, can I add, it is literally and consciousness is the kind of thing where you practice it more, you become more conscious, right? I mean, I think we all probably can attest to that. And if you go back, like you were saying, maybe you were this a year and a half, 2 years ago, your level of consciousness now compared to where it was, I'm sure is different. And you just, my guess is that you just catch yourself earlier. So like you give the example, you're halfway through whatever you're through and you're like, what the heck? And, well, that eventually becomes, you are a quarter of the way through, and then you're an eighth of the way through. And then at some point, like the thought comes in and you realize, nope, this isn't going to work. And the more you connect with your soul's essence, then the more you're listening to that versus ego, and that's the consciousness.
Yeah, well put. Go ahead, Marie.
But it's more painful now because I recently found myself in a situation recently. It was painful. And it's because maybe that I've grown more. So I become more aware of it and capture. It was a lot more painful than in the past.
Right.
It was painful. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, I mean,
We're
I never
gonna have those
shared,
experiences. It's crazy.
I never
So,
shared, yeah, I never share emotional in a group. And had the opportunity to share this in the women's Sunday morning. And I never come in tears, only to you one time, but when you were my teacher. But outside that, I was like, that morning I was a mess. And thank God for the group that they were like, Maria, kind of work with me. But it's just so heavy. And I feel that the more I'm into this, right, and understanding and preparing my, sheltering my house here, it just, this little sucker comes a lot stronger and stronger, that it's just so hard for you sometimes to battle with him. And I think that time I just gave up and I'm like, what the heck, right? How much more can I take?
Okay, so when we're at that point, it's a great observation. Sometimes when we're at that point, we're like, I'm in pain, I don't know what else to do. Actually, I think what we want to do is catch ourselves as early as possible in the process and say, I'm going to do everything I can do, and I'm giving the rest over to the light. I'm giving the rest over to the great creator. I did everything I could do. The rest is on you. And just surrender. Like the pain is coming from my inability to surrender. Like I'm attached to a certain result that I don't have the control over.
I want to throw this out there. I wonder if, so back to what you were saying, like the pain that you feel, and let's say that the severity or the intensity of it, that doesn't change. And as a matter of fact, maybe it's even a little bit more, is what you're saying. But my experience personally has been, while it might feel a little bit more, it's for a shorter window of time versus having that pain that is now being dragged out for 6 months because you don't have the tools and you don't have the mindset and the consciousness. So, listen, I'm in your boat, girl. Like, when does the pain stop? Right? Like, I don't want the pain, but the reality is that if you learn to change your perspective and your consciousness, you still experience the pain. Nobody's giving you a pain-free pass. The question, and I guess this is the choice that we have, right? This is the free will, is how long do you want to endure that pain?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also add that I saw an interview with George Harrison of the Beatles on Instagram, and he was heavily into meditation, and he was talking about, and this is, I don't know, 50 years ago. He was talking about the power of meditation, and his point was like the more grounded you are, it's easier to have perspective on life events and easier to, I mean, it was so Kabbalistic, and easier to not react to the ways in which we're stimulated by challenges and by painful situations. And, it's just a reminder, whether it's prayer, whether it's meditation, whether it's connecting to the tools, it's all about us gaining more awareness and an ability to kind of take a step back and like, how does this matter? Whatever it is I'm going through, like that pain is because I'm holding on. And part of growing is being okay with what is. And by the way, easy to say. Oh, be okay with what is, really? Yeah, well, it's easy to say to be okay with what is. It's harder to be okay with what is. But those are things that are happening for us. So like it's whatever I feel attached to, I'm potentially going to be challenged by. Time to let go. I don't want to let go. But that's where the pain is coming from. So the more elevated I can be in my thinking, the more aware I can be on what my attachments are, the less vulnerable I am to the punishments of the other side. Can we fully escape it? I'm not sure we're supposed to fully escape it, but I can be in pain. I think one of the goals is to be, when we are in pain, is to think about, how do I surrender to this? How do I give over I'm letting go of the outcome. I've done everything I can. So I'm letting go of the outcome. It's not so much about outcomes. It's about how I handle the challenge. But ultimately, we're going to get triggered, and we're going to be in pain, and we're going to be confused, and we're going to be disoriented. It's going to happen. I just want to catch myself. Ideally, I know certain things are going to trigger me right away. So like if I know what my triggers are, then I can approach. I mean, you will not have a conversation with me after a certain time of the night about certain topics. I just won't go there. Like it's not the right time of the day for me. And that way I sleep better, because we are going to get wound up about things. And even the things that I know I'm going to be wound up about, I'm trying to observe. And I guess this is also a huge tip, Maria, is to think about like, what am I feeling in my body? Like, it's about body consciousness, and about what I'm feeling will tell me what's going on, will alert me if I'm feeling this. Maybe there's some kind of attachment I need to deal with. Maybe I need to surrender sooner. And we're definitely going to be tested though in those ways. But those things aren't happening. We're not being victimized. We're being given an opportunity to grow. Like when you have a fear of something, I mean, I don't want to pick getting stuck in an elevator, God forbid, but let's say it's a fear of getting stuck in an elevator. Like, I'm going to say to myself, I get stuck in the elevator, I'm stuck in the elevator. I'll find a way. I'll find a workaround. Eventually, the fire department will come and axe the door open. When I do that, Kabbalistically, I reduce the likelihood that I'm going to have to get stuck in the elevator, because I'm already handling it. If a very valued relationship of mine is going to get rocky, I'm going to find a way to deal with it. We'll take a step back. We'll hit a timeout. We're going to find ways to deal with that. And so maybe I reduce the likelihood that I have to have that tough experience, because those experiences are happening to give me the opportunity to grow. And that's what the evil inclination is showing up, to give me the opportunity to grow. Because the truth is, I do need to be careful about what guests I invite in. Major takeaway from this section. But you're right, it's important. And I appreciate you sharing that painful experience, because it's a great illustration of it's real. These are real experiences. We have these experiences, and they are painful. And so using the tools, surrendering, handing off, the outcome to the creator, and trying to be more present and be more aware are all the things that we do to navigate it in the best way possible and react in as limited a way possible. But again, I'm not muting my reactions. I'm embracing them. It's a big difference. Thanks.
I imagine there's a huge piece of community here as well. Like if you have the right
it's a great point. It's a great point. I mean, the fact that you're able to have this conversation is important. Like when you have a friend or family member who's going through a difficult time, you want to be able to feel their pain. You don't want to take on their pain, but you want to be able to feel their pain, and you want to give them a space to be where they're at. And when you do that, you are giving them energy in a balanced way that assists them. And that's why it feels good when you vent to somebody, because you just got to get it off your chest. I don't need the answer. I don't even need it be fixed. I just need to share. And when you vent, you're taking someone's energy. And when you allow someone to vent to you, you are giving them energy. You're giving them support. And that is sharing. That is us sharing. But you can't do that with everyone. And you need to have boundaries around who you allow in for that. Okay, let's continue.
Such is the evil inclination who has become a man, landlord over that man who is attached to serve it, and the evil inclination does with him as it pleases.
Yeah, so interesting. Not only do we have references here to Samuel the prophet, we also have references here to the creation story in Breshit, the first book of the 5 books. The man who is the Lord of the land. You would think that that was some kind of reference to like landlord. But the Zohar is saying that that's actually a reference to evil inclination, who we hand over the keys to the castle. Like if you aren't aware that evil inclination is driving you at times, then it's like you've handed over the keys to the car. You've gotten into a really like funky Uber drive. I mean, it's just not. So again, an opportunity for us to raise our consciousness. And the other thing interesting is there's also a verse here from the book of Ruth. And again, these are all references to man. And what the Zohar is pointing out to us is this is the evil inclination. It's showing up everywhere. It is universal. And the more consciousness we have around that, the better able we are to spot it in ourselves, to manage it, to work through it, and to, remove the evil inclination for different areas of our life. The evil inclination will find another way in. But again, we just want to be aware. Let's try one more paragraph. 153. The alda bae barnash l'shava limilin de oraitai ale tadir begin the yehehahu yetzer tavir bahu the let le mekatreg liyetzer hara bar mile de oraita ve'alda kativ vayuad rima ela v'gomer al levavecha al trei yetzarecha yetzer atov it atar bahu v'yetzer hara it kanes bahu Amar Rabbi Yehuda yetzer atov Ma ba'e milei d'oraita. Amar le yetzer atov it atar behu v'yetzer hara kevin d'chami banash latav v'la ba'e l'ishtad la b'oraita kedenu salik le'ela v'olifa lechova hadu l'tiv uchsilim merim kalom.
One must therefore constantly place upon oneself words of Torah so that the evil inclination will be broken by them. For the evil inclination has no greater enemy than the words of Torah.
Okay, so talking about tools, are we just talking about like Torah? We're talking about all of our holy writings, which are infused with the energy of the upper realm. And that energy breaks the Yetzer Hara. So like, it's not only that when we study the Zohar or any of the holy writings, we are elevating in our ability to break the Yetzer Hara, but here it's a double down, which is why I chose the section. It's a doubling down. Not only are we connecting to the Zohar, which assists us in connecting more firmly to our soul, in overcoming the influence of the evil inclination, but we're studying a Zohar on the evil inclination. So it's even more laser focused on giving us the ability to stay present and stay aware. Let's continue.
Hence it is written, and these words shall be in your heart. Your heart
And again,
means
that verse and these words shall be in your heart. That is from the second paragraph of the Shema. The Shema, there's
right.
actually 4 divisions, but essentially 3 paragraphs. And so that's directly from that. It's a prayer, the Shema prayer that many read 3 times a day. Let's continue.
Your heart means your 2 inclinations, since the good inclination is adorned with them and the evil inclination is subdued by them.
Okay,
Rabbi,
so your heart in this context is both sides of the coin, both the evil inclination and the good inclination. Okay.
Rabbi Yehuda said, "What does the good inclination need words of Torah for?" He said to him, "The good inclination is adorned with them, and the evil inclination, when it sees that the man does not repent and does not care to study Torah, it rises up and speaks ill of him. This is the meaning of, but fools shall get shame."
Okay, and that is from the prophet Mishlei. So the idea is that it's not just an incentive to just, do holy studies. It's not what it is. I mean, there is an incentive, but that's not what this is about. It's about giving us the opportunity to see things for what they are. And when I say see, I'm not so much talking about our eyes, I'm talking about a connection to our soul. Your soul does see everything. It's somewhat anthropomorphic to say we're going to see more. Really, what we're going to do is by connecting more to our soul, we have a deeper perspective. So it's all about growing our perspective. And so the last takeaway here is our ability to fight the good fight is aided by our ability to see things in a deeper way. And that comes from our connection to these words, these verses, which are infused with energy and light from the upper realm, from the flawless universe, which many positives from that, but among them is our ability to connect more firmly to soul, connect more firmly to our good inclination, to hear that voice in our head. It is ultimately of the good inclination. Okay, so with that, we're out of time. So wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom. Tonight is Tu B'Av. It's one of the most positive days on the calendar. And so it's a tremendous opportunity to connect to really unconditional love, the upper realm, soulmate energy. It's a tremendous opportunity. And of course, there's a lot of resources out there for that. Okay, everybody. Love you all. Have a great Shabbat. Thank you. Thanks for
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye.